Hey everyone, today we're diving into one of the most powerful ideas out there for dealing with challenging behavior. We're talking about how to get ahead of the game, how to stop problems before they even have a chance to start, instead of always just reacting to them.
Seriously, think about that for a second. What if you could actually prevent a meltdown, or stop the refusal, or the yelling before it even gets off the ground? It sounds kind of like a superpower, right? Well, it's not magic. It's actually science.
And this right here is the secret sauce. It's called an antecedent intervention. All it really means is that we change the setup, we change the environment before a behavior happens. And that word, before, is absolutely everything.
So, what in the world is an antecedent anyway? It sounds kind of technical, right? But it's actually super simple. It's just whatever happens right before a behavior. So if a parent says, "Time to clean up," and a kid immediately starts screaming, well, the antecedent is just the instruction, "Time to clean up." That's it.
And that is what makes this whole approach a total game changer. Instead of waiting for the problem, the screaming, the hitting, whatever it is, we can just change things up first. And let's be honest, it's almost always way easier to prevent the fire than to try and put it out once it's already raging.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Well, the best way to wrap your head around it is to imagine we're sorting all the different strategies into two simple buckets. Trust me, this little analogy is going to make everything click.
Now, don't let the fancy words on this slide freak you out. Contingency-dependent, contingency-independent. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so just forget the jargon for a minute. Think of it like this. Bucket 1 is all about changing the signals and the general setup. And bucket 2, that one's all about changing how much a person wants something in that specific moment.
All right, let's pop the lid on our first bucket, signals and setup. Every single strategy in here works because it taps into a person's past learning. We're basically using what they already know to nudge them toward doing the right thing.
This quote right here just says it all. We're not trying to teach something brand new from square one. We're using what's already there, that foundation of learning, and we're rigging the game for success.
So inside this bucket, we've got four main tools in our toolbox. We can mess with the signals, make the good behavior pay off way more, make the right choice the easy choice, or even just remove the opportunity for the problem to happen. Let's zoom in on one of the most powerful ones, making things easier.
This might sound, well, kind of obvious, right? But it is a huge principle in behavior. We are all, you, me, everyone, pretty much hardwired to take the path of least resistance. And we can totally use that to our advantage. And this is a perfect example of that in action. So if a kid tends to scream to get out of doing work, what's going to be easier for them in that moment? Trying to say a whole long, polite sentence, or just handing over a simple card? By making the right way to ask for a break way easier than screaming, you've just made it so much more likely that they'll choose the card.
Okay, time to check out our second bucket. This one has nothing to do with signals or how easy something is. Nope. This one is all about what a person wants in the moment. It's all about motivation.
The key term here is motivating operation, or MO for short. And again, don't let the fancy term fool you. It's just something that happens that temporarily changes how valuable something is. You know, if you've been working outside all day and haven't had a drink, water suddenly becomes incredibly valuable. That thirst, that's the MO.
So we can basically split motivation into two sides of the same coin. You've got an establishing operation, or EO, which makes you want something more. Think about not having a snack for a few hours. Food suddenly looks pretty good. Then you have the opposite, an abolishing operation, or AO. This makes you want something less, like right after you've eaten a giant meal, the idea of more food is just not appealing.
And of course, these shifts in motivation directly impact what we do. When we establish an EO, it has what's called an evocative effect. It makes behavior more likely to happen. And when we use an AO, it has an ablative effect, making behavior less likely. Again, just think behavior up and behavior down.
Okay, enough with the theory, right? Let's see what this actually looks like in the real world. We're going to look at the exact same problem and see how we could solve it using a strategy from either bucket. Two totally different angles.
Okay, look at this. Let's take yelling for attention. A bucket 1 fix, our signals and setup bucket, would be to teach an easier, better signal, like tapping someone on the shoulder. But a bucket 2 fix, that's all about motivation. We'd give tons of free attention before they even feel the need to yell for it, basically abolishing its value. Same for refusing work. Bucket 1, make the task easier. Bucket 2, Give breaks before they're needed so the motivation to escape goes down. See? 2 different paths to the exact same goal.
I know we've thrown a lot of new terms around, so let's boil it all down into a super simple cheat sheet. Think of this as your quick reference guide to cut through all the technical jargon.
This slide right here is basically your pocket translator. Antecedent just means before. An SD, that's your green light, your signal. Response effort is just how hard it is. EO means you want it more. AO means you want it less. And evocative means behavior goes up, while abative means behavior goes down. Simple, right?
And look, if you walk away remembering just one thing from all of this, please let it be this. No matter which bucket you're using, no matter which strategy you choose, this is the ultimate goal. You are trying to make the right behavior the easiest, most obvious, and most valuable choice on the table.
And that just leaves one last question for you. Now that you've got this new toolkit, now that you know the difference between changing the setup and changing the motivation, the next time you're faced with a challenge, which bucket are you going to reach for first?